Looking okay. Got it. Got it.
Thank you for joining us today at Levittown Public Library's Posture Alignment class with Kimberly. Today is August 1st. Happy August, everyone. And go ahead, Kim.
Thank you, Hitomi. Good to be back, everybody. I see we have some new faces, and I just wanted to remind everyone that clear yourself with your doctor before you do any type of extra activity, all of that wonderful stuff. If you're not feeling well, please let me know and I will go let someone else know and we can get some help for you. If anything doesn't feel right when you're doing the exercise, please stop the exercise. And I'm standing right here. So if something doesn't feel right and I don't give you a modification that's working for you, let me know. Help is on the way. So this is an exercise class. So you're going to experience your heart rate maybe getting up. You're going to experience some changes. Your body is going to do a lot of changes. Remember when we were asking, how quick does the body change? Remember that? And it changes quickly. It changes very quickly. Even though these moves look really, really simple, and they are really simple moves, your body can go through changes fairly quickly. And the body may or may not be ready for that. I don't know because I don't live in your body. So if something doesn't feel right, we've got to use that as our kind of barometer for, is this okay for me or is this not okay for me? I notice everybody's getting into static back already while I yap at you guys. Fair enough. Does everybody want to do static back? Is that why everybody's in it? Is everybody's just laying in static back? Okay, static back it is. So static back, for some of you who are new, it's just laying on the floor and we're going to let gravity do the work for 5 minutes. You put your legs up on top of your chair, as I will demonstrate here, and you try to get your legs as close to 90 degrees as possible. So when you're doing this at home, or when you take these moves that you learned today, you take them home, you want to try to get to 90 degrees best you can. So I'm just going to grab my watch, make sure we don't stay in static back too long, even though I know everybody wants to stay in it for so long. Did I hit the button for that last time? And they are on dim.
Kill the lights.
Kill the lights. They're shining right in your eyes.
That's what makes you grow up.
Oh, goodness. Is that better? Okay. Okay, you're welcome. All right, 5 minutes. So now let me demonstrate for those of you who are new. Is everybody okay in this move? I know this is the first time that you've maybe have experienced this move. You all right?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Okay. And I didn't look on the paperwork. Your name?
Suzanne.
I've
been on Zoom.
Oh,
Yeah.
so you've been with me for a while. Okay, cool. Cool. So you're not really a newbie. You're not new at all. All right. So our static back, here we are hanging out in the static back. Some of you might not be able to do static back out there. You can sit in a chair as squarely as you can. That's an option too. Anybody do anything cool over the weekend?
Fishing, went to Robert Moses fishing, caught 10.
10 what? You going for porgies? Fluking?
Nice. The whole guy and one of the guys caught a shark, a nice sized shark, but we threw it back.
Thank goodness. Thank you.
Yeah. What you don't keep, you throw back anyway.
Thank you for doing that. Very good. So she was fluking over the weekend over at Robert Moses. Caught an awful lot in her special spot, which she's going to keep to herself. She's not going to let us know. Anybody else? Anybody go to the Joan Jett thing in Eisenhower Park?
No.
Did anyone learn anything new over the weekend?
I'm throwing out my house and learning that I have a lot of crap
She's learning she has a lot of crap in her house and she's throwing it out.
But it's like, no one else is in my house, so I'm just taking everything I don't think I want, I'm putting it in the living room, and I'm just coming back and saying, no, I still don't want it, so it's going out on Wednesday when Lucas comes to pick it up, so
Okay.
that's good.
Every time I do that, down the road, maybe a couple months later, I go looking for it. But I was giving it away. What the hell was I thinking that day? I was stupid.
There's a site you could go on, with, free giveaways to give to people.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that'll be even worse because she'll give it away to somebody and then she'll want it back. She'll know where it is. She's gonna go bang on the door.
What did I do that for?
Give me that back.
I always keep the list of what I donate, but then all of a sudden I'm like, what is that? I'm like, oh,
Oh,
maybe
I
I
never
do
do
that.
that.
Yeah, that's
That's a
very
good
organized.
thing.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I'll forget where I put the list.
About 2 more minutes, everyone. Is everybody in static back because they feel that static back is really helpful for them? Or do they like it because it gives you just a chance to relax?
Yes, it feels good.
Both? Both? What do you feel it helps you with specifically when you get into static back? And this is a different answer for every person.
For me, it gets me grounded. I'm where I should be. I did it, and it's just like very relaxing.
Okay.
And I find myself doing it like at 3 o'clock in the morning when I just can't get back to sleep.
Really?
It does make a big difference.
Really? Okay. So she's saying it gets her grounded and it makes a big difference. She finds herself doing it at 3 in the morning sometimes when she can't go to sleep.
Do you have any swelling in your feet?
Yeah.
For
You-
me in the class, it delineates getting here. Getting in the right frame of body and mind for the class.
Good call. So one of the students said that it delineates for her arrival at class and gets her body in alignment and prepped for class. You were saying if you have any swelling in your feet, does this move help you?
Yes.
Oh, fantastic. So he does this move when he's got swelling in his feet.
Also eases my lower back.
Eases the lower back. Yeah, there's a good one. Does everybody feel that? It really takes a lot of that pressure off of your lower back by loading your pelvis in a different way. That's the goal.
Makes me breathe better.
Oh, makes you breathe better. There's a good one. Now, last week we did the beginner routine. And some of you asked me to send you the videos of both of those routines, and I did. Today we're going to do the advanced routine. Don't be afraid. And it is going to start with a move that you might not like, the standing arm circles. But we can do the arm circles in many different positions. And if you know you don't like doing arm circles, you can lay on the floor and do elbow curls if you want to. You can lay on the floor and still stay in static back and skip the arm circles if you want to. But for everyone that's willing to come along with me for the advanced routine that I had planned for today, we're going to come up either to a standing or a kneeling or even a sitting position. You guys know, even you guys out there, you know, we've done the arm circles in so many different positions, even sitting in a chair or sitting on the floor. So you have your choice. I'm going to show you guys the hand position for the arm circles. You take your hands into fists and then you flatten out your fist. You want to make your palms very available. This is what we call the modified golf grip. It's a weird position. Everybody's got that, right? You never, oh yeah, there you go. There you go. You got it. So you can do this in multiple positions. If you're standing, where do I want your feet? Straight ahead, hip distance. So everybody look down, take a look at your feet, correct them. Remember, the point that we want to come forward is the very center of your foot. So it's a line that's imaginary between your second and third toe. So we want the whole foot to point straight and the foot's shaped like this, correct? Whole foot. So if you're standing, you're going to keep that stance. If you're kneeling, like me and some of you else out there, take that grip, squeeze your shoulder blades together, then bring the arms out to the sides, circle up and forward, keep your belly relaxed. We're going to go for 40 on these. If these bother you, perfect. Doing shoulder shrugs, shoulder circles, perfectly fine. Forgetting names, it just flew right out of my head. It'll come to me. Double check your feet. Look down, make sure they're pointed straight ahead. I love how she does that without looking at her feet. That's a good job. We're going to circle backwards for 40. So when you do that, you turn your palms up, your thumbs point behind you, shoulders are still squeezing back and down, circle up and back. Why do you?
That hurts more.
That hurts more. Hopefully in a good way. If you remember what I said earlier. So I want you to think about why we are keeping our belly relaxed when we do this. Why is that important? Right? And relax. Why are we keeping our belly relaxed when we do that move?
It's your shoulders that work it.
So it doesn't work. I like where you're going with that. Because if your belly is tight, we don't get that motion. And we're looking for that motion to begin articulating the hips. And if you're holding it tight, no articulation occurs. Okay, we're going to do lateral leg raises. If you guys feel off balance, you can put your hands onto the chair. If you feel off balance. If you're not, and you're feeling really good, leave the chair nearby, hang on to it if you feel like you're going to go. So we're just going to pick the leg up, out, off to the side, but I want you to pay attention to the position of your foot. That's going to tell you the position of your hip. We want the hip to stay right where it is as far as facing forward as we lift it laterally. You see how my foot stays parallel to the floor? Look at your foot. Lift it again. Better, better. So everybody look at your foot. There's a psychology that goes on when you're staring at me as the instructor up front, and you think, okay, I'm lifting my leg, I must be doing everything that they're doing, and we just keep staring at me. I want you guys to look at your foot so you can see what your foot is actually doing. So pick it up and then take a look. If you see, I'm catching a lot of your feet turned out this way. You want the foot to be parallel. So that's going to keep internal rotation in the hip. Big difference. And you'll feel it hurts a lot more in the right way. Go to the other side. So we're just going to bang it out 10, 10, 10, 10, back and forth. Again, eventually, this should be able to be done without hanging on to anything. Being able to hold on is not a requirement, but it might be a requirement for you. I am going to start throwing things pretty soon. I'm watching you guys go from, oh yeah, keep it parallel, to you're going right back to it. So pay attention. You'll feel that difference. I'm going to go back to the beginning leg again. If it doesn't feel like, oh my gosh, there's the work, you're probably doing it wrong. You're probably doing it wrong.
Myself going this way.
Of course.
I shouldn't.
There's no way your body can avoid doing that. Even my body, if I'm gonna hold on to something, yeah, my body won't go that way, but I got nothing to hold on to. So my body is gonna lean to the side because I'm throwing all this weight over there. So it automatically counterbalances. So don't think too much of, oh, I'm leaning this way. I like where you were going with that because you want to keep your body in line, right? That's what I'm always barking at everybody. Well, keep that alignment. There's no way you're going to be able to keep that alignment here. Nice, Pat. Really nice. Good, Gloria. I know this is a tough one. This is a tough one. Now lift the legs straight out. Keep the feet parallel. That's the key.
I was hiding behind.
I was watching you hide, but I can't. I see everything. I see it all. We're going to do it one more round.
Look between her legs.
I see her. She's hiding behind her. She really is. Lift and lower. Where's everybody feel this one? You feel it here? Anyone else? You feel it in your hip higher? Okay, so some are lower back. Some are saying they're feeling it here. Some are saying they're feeling it here. Some are saying they're feeling it here. All of these are correct. Eventually, you'll just be feeling it here as all the right muscles start turning on. So it's a tensor fascia latte. I know, it sounds delicious, right? That's keeping that internal rotation. That's why your body wants to do this and just lift the leg like that. It feels better, right? So we're really working that secondary hip flexor to keep that internal rotation. Nice job. Good knife edge on your foot back there. Okay, we're going to go for elbow curls now, ladies and ladies. We don't have a gentleman anymore. We're going for ladies. Elbow curls, same idea with your feet. You're keeping them right underneath your hips. You're going to take the hands into that same funky position, right? Fists flat, open. Fist flat, open. Feet are straight ahead. Again, this can be done standing, kneeling, even in static back. This can be done. You can stand against the wall. The knuckles go to your temples, open, close. Thumbs are pointing down. Thumbs are pointing down. You open as wide as you can, and you close. Try to touch your elbows in front of you. Oh, good question. I don't know. I've been doing this for about 6 years. Did they get bigger? Did they build your bust line? Okay. she just wants to lift it. Oh my God, what a good class today. Yes, this must increase your bust, right? That's it. So, if you were standing against the wall, that's going to stop you from actually rotating out of this in any direction. It'll pin you on the wall and try to isolate both of the shoulders so that the scapula is going through this motion. That's really what we're going for. We're waking up the scapula to do this motion on your back. That's what the elbow curls are for. And believe it or not, that type of motion will translate into your hips and reteach your feet how to walk straight. Amazing, right? Amazing. It's not important that you touch the elbows in front. I've caught some people who have shoulder restrictions end up doing something like this, and they bend the wrists because the shoulder isn't willing to go there. So it's called cheating. Don't do it. It's called cheating. Don't do it. Open, close. Catching wrist bending on you. Keep this locked. Keep it locked. Good. Close. Wrist bending again. I'm going to take video of you on your phone so you can see it. Better, better. What's next? Oh, windmill. Who likes windmill? Who hates windmill? Do you love it or hate it? She likes it. Some people hate windmill. Windmill is, you can do it sitting in a chair, absolutely. Windmill is trapping yourself against the wall or your imaginary wall, depending on where you're at. I'm going to keep the arms out to the side if that hurts your shoulders. Hands can go on your hips. Hands can go lower. I really don't care where your hands go, but this is helping to isolate your upper body from your lower body. We're just going to move left and right without moving the shoulders. So I'm pivoting on my belly button, if you think about it. No shoulder movement. These stay stuck. Back and forth. Heels stay down on the floor. I'm going to give you 2 blocks. All right, Lynn? And that's going to help put your feet on the floor so that we can get the hips on. All right, feet up, my dear. Cool. Good. Much better. Much better. Back and forth. The only difference between doing this standing and doing this in a chair is you don't get the different leg positions. So now we're going to take it into the second leg position, which is about 2 feet wide. We're going to keep the feet pointed straight ahead and keep them parallel, as parallel as you can go. So again, by keeping them parallel, we're getting internal rotation, and the TFL is going to kick on again, among other muscles. And when I do this, I try to think of my thumb and my pinky grazing the wall. You could see why some people would hate this move. Everybody's shoulders tired? They may get tired. I'm going to separate the legs even wider. The point of this move is actually to reduce rotation. So it's going to stop these things from happening in the body. So we're trying in the first exercises of any of these routines to get the rotation out of the body. The body should be able to rotate, yes, but for most of us, our bodies are stuck in some sort of rotation. When we walk, when we jump, when we buy food at the store, when we're in line at the DMV, some part of our body is stuck in some sort of rotation. So we want to unwind that and then work from the inside out. Remind it how to work more balanced. I'm going to come back to our beginning position, which is feet underneath the hips, arms out, palms open, best you can. And again, if this stinks for you and you can't do this standing, you might be doing it sitting. You might be having your arms a little lower. You might even have your hands on your hips. Some of you guys get really creative and you come up with some stuff and you show me and I go, oh my God, I love that. And it helps other people. And they go, hey, I like that. That's how I've modified some of these moves. Is not because I learned it from a teacher or a therapist or some guru in some stupid book. I learned it from you. I learned it from you. Done. Did everybody feel any difference between when we started with our windmill and we ended with our windmill in the same leg position? I was waiting for that, and I was waiting for that from you. Cats and dogs is next. We're going to do cats and dogs. You could do it in the chair or you could do it on the floor. On the floor, hands and knees you can do. In a chair, looks like this. And actually turn to the side for you. So if you're doing any of these moves in the chair, you still want to keep the knees and feet in line with your hips. And we're just moving through the pelvis first. That's your initiation. Shoulders come back, head comes back. And the other direction, it's a back and forth movement. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Hands and knees can certainly be done. Some of you guys are doing that already. Usually I do this in sets of 10, but goodness, if you did this in sets of 20, how wonderful. Believe it or not, if we were all breathing the way that we're designed to breathe, we would be doing cats and dogs. How many breaths do we take throughout the day? 3,000 something million, billion, squadrillion times. Your body actually does this cats and dogs if we're breathing via the diaphragm. This is a nice reset, especially after we've done any unilateral moves, meaning a move that's one side and then the other. So this helps reset the body and kind of gets it loaded and prepped for the day. So it's a good way to end any of your menus if you're unsure when you're creating your own menu. We're going to get down to the floor. We're going to do some hip lift, hip crossover stretch, crunches. I know you love those. So you can do this sitting in a chair, yes, but you can do this sitting on the floor too. So hip crossover stretch and hip lift, all those moves can be done sitting in a chair. All we're going to do is cross the ankle over. And then we're going to twist the body. So if you wanted to sit in a chair and do that, you absolutely could. But we're going to do this on the floor. Hip crossover stretch usually takes a minute. How many of you guys do this laying on the floor and you do it for 3 minutes or 2 minutes? Anybody? No? Your giggling inspires a lot of confidence. So you're going to lay on the floor. You're going to put your arms out to a T, a straight line across from wrist through your shoulders to the other wrist. Bend your knees and put your feet flat on the floor. I will get to that. Let me just set up the legs first, and I'm gonna get to the palms up thing. We're gonna cross the left ankle to the right knee at this point. Keep your right foot on the floor. I don't want that foot to slide. Really pay attention to that foot. Do not let it slide. We're gonna twist through the lower back, and the legs are gonna fall over to the right. So don't let your right foot slide at all. So now a word on the hands. Someone asked palms up. People who have really, really rounded shoulders, they're going to want to go palms up because their shoulders are not working. And I've only met just a couple that have to go palms up because their shoulders are that stuck. If you can go palms down and it's not coming from your radius and your ulna, meaning the lower arm or your elbow, if it's not coming from there and it's actually coming from your shoulder to go palms down, then go for it. And it can for you, so good. You can do that. Some people whose shoulders are already stuck here, they can only go palms down by doing this. And it looks really funky and uncomfortable and it hurts them. Those are the only people I let go palms up. Your left knee, that was the ankle that we crossed over, right? You're gonna point your left knee to the sky. You're going to use your hip muscles to draw that knee away from you so it's pointing towards the sky. So you're not letting that knee flop in. We're going to switch to the other side in 3, 2, 1. Come back to center. Reset your feet again. Again, we're starting in the hook line position. Feet are always pointed straight ahead. Feet are always in line with your hips. Okay, you're going to cross your right ankle to your left knee. You're going to twist through your lower back. Remember what I said about the foot not sliding. Don't let it slide. Twist as slowly as you need to keep the foot in place. We want to keep the form. And that might mean you guys have to hang out in the air like this and just feel the tightness. That's all right. Don't try to get to the floor by any means and then lose all of your form. In a perfect world, your foot and your knee are going to be laying on the floor. Lovely. Very good. Hey, looking better.
Trying harder.
Trying. Looking better. Looking better. I know this was a toughie last week. This was a toughie, but you're getting there. You're getting there.
Yesterday, I had a walk. Nothing.
Okay, so you had a tight day.
That was a bad day.
Draw this knee towards me. That's the way. There it is. Beautiful. We're going to hit it hard. We're going to do hip lift. Hip lift. This one is not an easy move, hip lift. It's a minute long each side. If you're not on the floor with me and you're somewhere watching this video later and you can't get on the floor, this can be done in a chair. It'll be done in a chair even harder than you guys on the floor. So you guys stay on the floor. Hip lift is the same prep. So we're crossing the ankle to the knee, but you're going to pick the leg up so that you're actually sitting like I am. That's it. You got it. So now you can feel that there's this push-pull relationship. As your left knee or right knee pulls in towards your chest, the other one's going to draw away. Both knees are bent for this one when you pull it in, and we're going to hold for 1 minute. So I've got my left knee at that funny static back angle. Remember that first move we all did? I'm pulling my left knee in towards my chest. My right knee is drawing away. So I'm using my own resistance to get this work done. Everybody feel that? And go around and just check, make sure everybody's okay. If you're not, you know what to do. Help. I'm helping. Bend the knee. It's excellent that you're actually able to do this. Right there. Hold if you can. And if you can't hold here, just put the foot back on the floor, take a break. We got 10 seconds left. It's okay. This is a hard move. A few weeks ago, someone showed up, they couldn't do this move. So I had them just kind of, it wasn't you. I had them kind of lift their foot and put it back down. Come out, lift the foot and put it back down. And that's what we were doing. Another regression from this move is something like this. You get the crossover, you hang out here. You might do something like this with your foot. It's rocking chair. I'm lifting my toes, lifting my heel. There's a prep. Another prep is doing this against the wall. You could put your foot on your own wall, not the library's wall because it's beautiful and clean now. So you can put your foot on your own wall at home. And this is an assisted hip lift, so it helps you. But everybody else, you're rock stars out there. So suck it up for 1 minute. Do it. You got it. I got the timer going. Whichever leg you're doing, the leg that's bent at the 90-degree angle, that one's pulling in towards you. The other one that's out to the side, that one's drawing away from you. Push, pull. It's tough, right? What's this move called?
Painful.
I asked that just so I could get a snarky remark from you guys. That's why I asked that. Good. That's tough. Does anyone feel it in your lower back? 15 seconds left. Does anybody feel it in their hip, in their groin? Anybody feel it in their calf, in their quad? Nobody? Good. 4, 3, 2, 1, done. You know what? They hit you hard after this. We go back into hip lift and we do crunches into the hip lift. But I know what you guys would like right now. Frog. Let's, right? Wouldn't that feel so good right now? Let's take a frog. So we're going to lay on the floor, put the soles of the feet together and let the knees drop out. Oh, and just lay there for 2 minutes because that feels good. You can do that sitting in a chair too if you wanted to. So it's not quite pain-free advanced routine today, giving you guys a little break just by watching your faces. Yeah, this one's a toughie. They give you oblique crunches, and right after that, free crunches, and right after that, flutter kicks. It's just, it's murder, but you feel real good when you're done. You know why? Because you don't have to work anymore. We'll do at least the flutter kicks and free crunches though. Does this feel relaxing? Does it hurt?
Yes.
I'm watching some of you kind of do this. So some people, it does hurt. This is not an easy move, especially when external rotation is not a way your leg likes to go. Would you feel better going into static back then? You can do a static back. You can go into hook lying. If something doesn't feel right, or you just feel like, I don't want to do this anymore, take another position. Take another position. Everybody good? I could see that one leg and one hip on you. It's real tight. It's different than the other one. So that one leg is sitting up high. The other leg is kind of flopping out to the side. 10 more seconds. We're going to do free crunches next. Free crunches is a toughie because everybody has been told that a crunch is this silly thing. I remember when crunches came out. Does anybody remember when crunches became a thing in the 90s? Yeah. Like this was like, oh, it's the crunch. It's the new sit-up, as if sit-ups became bad all of a sudden. So their idea of crunch is kind of this. It's just this little sit-up. I don't do them that way because most of us were stuck here to begin with. So what I'd like you to do is keep the upper back, the thoracic, in extension when you do the crunch. So we're only going to lift up about 2 to 6 inches off of the floor. Don't go any more, because once you come any further, it's going to turn on a different set of muscles. So I want you to think, do less to do more when we do this move. Watch me when I do the crunch. It's a crunch in thoracic extension. So you guys know, you've heard me say it before, find a spot on the ceiling behind you and keep staring at it. That means you should not lose it from your vision. Should not lose it from your vision. My elbows stay back and down. In a perfect world, which isn't going to happen, my elbows will hit the floor before my head does. So I lift and lower, lift and lower. You see how I'm not rounding? I'm not losing that spot on the ceiling. I'm doing my best to just do this pull from here and keep the shoulders, elbows, chest, head, neck, all in this same stuck spot. I'm lifting and lowering. Everything stays in extension. Does this make sense? Ready? You're going to belt out 20. If you can't do that, do 10. If you can't do that, do 1. Okay? Just do something. Do something. Even if you decide to do this sitting in a chair, that's fine. Here we go. You guys count it out to yourself. If I finish before you, don't worry about it. It's not about speed. It's about looking at that thing on the ceiling behind you and lifting up just a little bit. Elbows stay back and down. That's why I prepped you with those elbow curls earlier to help get a little more motion into your shoulders so that this doesn't become a stuck something. I'd like you to look at, I don't know, one of these lines back here. Keep that in your vision as you lift up. Better, lift up just a little bit. Good. Try not to look straight up at the ceiling. I want you to look behind you. That's going to keep your head looking back, which is going to keep your shoulders back automatically. Beautiful. Excellent. Goodness. Really, really good. Right? It's when you do it the right way, you could barely squeeze out 5. It's so difficult. It's so difficult. And that's why this is the pain-free advanced routine. It's not really for people who know more. It's just challenging. And so what? You can do it, even if you do 2. Everybody finished 20? Good. Good and good and good. We're going to do flutter kicks next. I'm going to move you guys on. You can do flutter kicks sitting on the floor. You can do flutter kicks in a chair. You can do flutter kicks anywhere. Eat green eggs and ham, right? When I do the flutter kicks, when I'm not feeling lazy, I do like to keep my elbows up off of the floor, but that's just me. And the other thing I do with my flutter kicks is I'll alternate between dorsiflexion of my ankles and plantar flexion of my ankles every 10. I keep my legs as low to the ground as I can without touching. And you'll feel when we do these flutter kicks, we are working groin and hip flexor really intensely. Yes, your abdominals have to kick on in order to support all the weight of your legs, but it's not an abdominals exercise. It's an exercise for your hip flexors. It's just that the abs are turning on in order to hold you in place and support all the weight of your legs. I'm saying that for all your fitness instructors out there that told me over the years, this is an abs exercise. No, it's not. It's not. Doing it in a chair, very simple. Same thing. You guys are going to belt out 150 million. Try to keep your knees straight. Go for 50. Go for 10. Whatever you can get. Knees straight. So when you lock out the knee, that forces your hip to work. You okay? If you can, great. If not, don't worry about it. Some of you over the years, and you've written me and talked to me after class on Zoom, you said, my goodness, I can't even get this done even with one leg. Perfectly fine. Move from your hip, not your ankles. I just caught one of those. To revert back and make this a little easier, you can do a one-legged one, of course. You can start here sitting in a chair and work yourself there, even on the floor. You can work it one leg. To take all of that leverage off and make it even easier, I've done it like this. So there's even more prep for a hip flexor. So if flutter kicks is so difficult that you can't get it done, you can't keep the knees straight, you can't even suck it through 2, then maybe revert back and do one of those modifications I just showed you. Absolutely. Good question. She said, is your lower back supposed to come off the floor? Absolutely it is. Don't try to suck it in and put it on the floor. It ain't gonna go.
And is it better to have your legs lower?
Relax, everybody. Is it better to have your legs lower than higher? So again, I did say relax, everybody, unless you want to really kick the crap out of yourselves. That's okay too. The question to have your legs lower or higher is a preference due to your body's ability to work it. So the higher your legs will come, the more in flexion your hips already are, and your hip flexor's ability to get that movement is easier. The lower we go, the harder it becomes because it's like adding more and more weight to it. So if you can't get it done down here and you find your kicks are looking like this, maybe stick it up. I mean, it's easy up here because if everybody felt that, gee, there's really no weight there. But as you start drawing the legs away, whoa, here it comes. If you can keep the knees straight here, then you can work it from here and then eventually work your way down as the hip flexor gets stronger. Did that answer your question? Mm-hmm. Good, good. Okay, what do you want to do next? More flutter kicks? No, but that's a good one, right? It's tough. Okay, we're going to do some Cobra work. I know we're running out of time just a little bit. Cobra is a weird one. It's not for everybody, especially those of you who have shoulder issues. I wasn't able to do Cobra for a while. When we do Cobra on elbows, try to keep your forearms parallel. But it's not important. If you're not going to do it, then you could just rest your head in your hands. That's okay too. The Cobra is just killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Can you see me back there, Lynn? You want me to move your chair? You're good? Okay. Okay, so when I do the Cobra, I am laying on my stomach. I can't think of any other alternative to this one. If you're sitting in a chair, you could just sit in your chair and do frog. I'll demonstrate that later. A Cobra is a toughie. So we're going to take that modified golf grip that we did earlier. Does everybody remember that one? Watch how this one goes, because I'm going to add on to this one a lot. And there's a few things a few caveats I want you to kind of remember. So I've got my modified golf grip. My hand is connected to my elbow, is connected to my shoulder. Shoulder is the only thing that moves. Everything else is locked. I drop in. Watch me for a second. I rotate out, but that came from my shoulder. You can see there's a difference between shoulder movement and the radius and ulna, right? You can do this. Oh, no big deal. But then I ask you to do that from the shoulder. Whoa, you feel that in the back, maybe in the lat. Then we're going to take the legs out to the frog position, and we're going to push the feet together. So all this, shoulders back, rotate it out, modified golf grip, dropping in, feet together. We're going to push and release. Cramps are going to happen here. If they, remember last week we had nothing but cramp, 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 cramp. I was calling them right out. This is a tough move. If this hurts your shoulder, rest your head in your hands. You don't have to do the shoulder work, but that's just an added bonus. We're going to push the feet together and relax over and over and over again, kind of like a glute squeeze, except we're pushing the feet together. Everybody get it? Get your modified golf grip, elbows right underneath your shoulders, drop in, rotate out, feet together, squeeze, release. Try to keep your heels close to your butt. You can rest your head in that towel all day long, Gloria. It's totally cool.
I don't have a choice.
Yeah, you're doing great. Open your knees a little bit wider. Wider. It's like a frog position. Yeah. Keep pushing. Even staying right there is okay, Gloria, even if you want to roll over. We're eventually getting into the glutes, but it's not quite a glute squeeze. So we're trying to push the feet together over and over, and eventually that will recruit the glutes.
I feel on my lower back of my shoulder.
In a bad way?
Well, I have a bad shoulder. Is this static or am I supposed to be moving?
The shoulders are static, the legs are not. The legs are repetitive over and over, squeeze, release, squeeze, release. The shoulder position stays static. We're going to stay here for the rest of class, 10 more minutes. So anybody sitting in a chair can't get onto the floor can push the feet together. Good. Over and over and over again. Anybody got a hamstring cramp? Right in the back? Yeah, that used to happen to me. Yep. That's your butt not able to fire, and your body has been recruiting the muscles down here, which cannot do this job. So it goes, ah, and it kind of cries. It will go away. You could take a break and it will go away. Anybody want to get out of this move?
Yeah.
Okay, come on out. Hand leg opposites. So we can do this on hands and knees. You can do it standing up. You could do it laying on your belly. I showed you so many different ways to do this last time. Remember, we did that hand leg opposite stuff, laying on the belly, and I had this arm along your side just so you wouldn't push into the ground to get it done. So I got my right arm and my left leg. They lift. I switch. I'm going to show you a hands and knees version of this, which is harder, which is what I'm going to do, but this is a modification. Switch, switch. You guys get it. So you can do this if you are standing as well. You could do a cross crawl if you wanted to. You can do this move laying on the floor. You could do this standing, or you could do it on hands and knees and add that extra balance challenge. Right arm forward, left leg back, and switch. Right arm, left leg, and switch. When you're doing it on the belly, I don't care. Your head can rest on the floor if you want to, but just keep switching. Gloria, switch.
Yeah.
Switch. Left arm, right leg only. Left arm, right leg. That's it. Switch. Back and forth. It's all right. You got it. Switch. There you go.
And then the rotator cuff.
In your left rotator cuff to lift it. So this move is not for you. This move is not for you, not today. Yes, did you hear that left arm? So no, you gave it a shot. This move is not for you. So you could do one of the modifications. You can stand up or you can lay on your back. Here's the modification for you. So anytime we do this arm leg opposite lift, or like Pat's doing over here in the corner, she's doing the more advanced version of it. You see her doing the balance? Yeah, you show off. So Pat's doing that. Your version for now is going to be this one. Remember we did this? This one's going to be you, because there's not a whole lot of leverage on that arm. You can control it. It's not you laying on the floor and the floor pushing your arm back. So you can do this and control it. That's called the cross crawl. Don't push it. So if that arm is not happy with that even, then it's not for you, not yet. There's other moves that you need to do to prep so that your shoulder no longer hurts, but we have to listen to the body. Great, everybody, I'm done with this. I'm tired of this. We're almost done with class, but I'm not all the way through the advanced menu, but you guys can email me and I'll send you the advanced menu. Let's do some really easy stuff. Upper spinal floor twists. Maybe we'll finish out with a downward facing dog today. So we're going to lay on the side. Gloria, if this one hurts you, don't do it. You've done this one before, but if it hurts, don't do it. So I'm going to lay completely on the side. I lay on my left side just so I can cue you guys uniformly. I'm going to take my left hand and hold my knees in the stack position because I don't want my knees or my hips to slide. Don't want them to slide. So if you're laying on your right side, you're going to put your right hand on top of your knees. You want to hold them in place. The top arm, whichever one it is, you're opening up like a book. See, I have that same line, wrist, elbow, shoulder, straight across to the other shoulder, and it opens up. And because there's tightness and there's stuff going on, my arm kind of hangs in space because the tissues are holding it there. But I'm not going to cheat to get it on the floor by unwinding my legs. You want to hold the legs in place and let this stretch occur. If this hurts your shoulder, it might not be for you today. You can take the leverage off of the shoulder by putting your hand on your ribs or even just holding your arm in place across. What we want to do is reteach the upper body how to twist. I'm going to hang out here for about a minute. The other way that you can modify this move is by sitting in a chair. Gloria, are you okay with this one?
I have to keep pushing. I've got to.
Not words that I wanted to hear, but it's
I'm not a quitter.
it's right. But there are other things that we can do. So is this bad, sharp pain?
Yeah, it's bad sharp.
Bad, sharp pain. So leave your hand resting on your ribs and just rest that way. Still letting some gravity twist. Is that better?
Yeah, I'm feeling it. Good.
Okay, good. This is where you want to be.
All right.
Okay, so you don't have to push any further.
Yeah.
She's adorable.
That's good.
I get that mentality of I have to do this or else. I get it. Because I'm one of those too. 3, 2, 1, we're going to switch the sides.
That's why I'm still here.
Yeah. But if you're getting sharp pains and you know that it's the bad pain, prepping with other moves like standing at the wall and getting the shoulder to actually come back first, things like this will help that move feel better. That move is obviously, it's way too much for what's going on in your shoulder. So that's why your body's giving you that signal of ow, 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 ow. So if you were my client one-on-one, I'd probably give you something else to do up against the wall or even prep. So we're on the other side, everybody. 1 minute. Frog pullovers, static back reverse presses, anything to remind the shoulder blades that they belong on your back body, and try and get your shoulders to squeeze back and remember how to do that movement before we yank it in using the weight of the arm would be very helpful. 30 seconds. We're trying to reteach your body, even though it works as a unit. I'm going to use the only words I have for the upper body to twist independently of the lower. It's the only words that I can give you. It all works together, yes, but your upper body should be able to twist and the lower body should be able to hold in this position. So as we stretch into this, we're reminding the body, hey, you should be able to do this, and it'll come along. Relax, come on out of this. Some of you are not going to be able to do a downward facing dog. You just won't. It's too much load on your shoulders. It's not going to work. I think we're going to end with a downward facing dog, but I'm going to give you guys the opportunity for me to come around and give you the adjustments that you all loved so much over the years that helps downward facing dog feel like, oh, that's how it's supposed to be. So I'm going to give you guys that. Modification for downward facing dog is putting your hands on the wall or on a counter. Pretend there's a wall in front of me, video people. My feet are pointed straight ahead, and I kind of do my down dog like this against the wall. So there is the modification for down dog. If your elbows are bending or your shoulders hurt, you can go wider on the wall. You can go higher on the wall and not bend so much. That's your opportunity. Now, everybody who wants to do downward facing dog on the floor, this is what I want you to remember in your head. Down dog is a hip-driven movement. It should be. But for everyone here, including me, it turns out to be a handstand. So we're pushing back using our arms. We shouldn't have to because our hips aren't turned on. So I'm going to give you an option to bend your knees, and I'm going to come around and pull just a little bit to get your weight over your legs instead of over your shoulders, and you're going to feel everything turn on in your hips. So here's where I'd like you to come. Downward dog is usually here, yes? But if you come there, you'll feel, oh, I have to push back with my hands. I want you to bend your knees deeply and try and draw back using your hips. We're going to hold it for 1 minute. So if you choose to do that down dog, get into that position, and I'm coming around. Bend your knees deep, bend them, bend them. Ready? Pull back, knees bent, bend them, bend them. Feel the hands in place. Don't you move them. Don't you move them. Feel your hips. Don't you move them. Feel your hips. Yep. That's it. Bend your knees super deep, super deep, super deep, super deep. Everybody okay? Super deep. Okay? Feel it? Knees bent. Deep, 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 deep. Can you go? Deeper, deeper, deeper. There it is. Feel your hips. They can. Bend them. Ready? Weight over your hips. Bend them deep. Keep them deep, 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 deep. Feel that? Yes. Feel the hips turn on? Are you all right, Carol? Want an adjustment? Okay. Bend them deep. Feel the hips. That's it. Everybody else want one that didn't get one? You want one, Lynn? You can come out, everybody. Ready? All right. So, Lynn, can you do a down dog? Here's good enough for you. Here's good enough. Well, stay there. Straighten your elbows. Straighten your elbows. Keep your hands where they are. Just straighten your elbows. Good enough. So we're not going to go that deep for you, Lynn, just yet. Would you like an adjustment?
Yes.
Okay. Did everybody feel that difference in their hips? Bend your knees real deep, Pat. Real deep. Good. Here we go. Hands in place. I know. Feel it? Bend your knees real deep. Real, real, real deep. Feel the hips? Yeah. Relax. Okay, everybody. That's all the time we have for you guys. I'm going to let you guys go, and I'm going to keep chatting with my ladies out here. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you.